I call my power back to me from every person, place, entity, from every space, portal, time, and dimension, from every connection, attachment, and vessel where I left it. Anyone and anything that is attempting to siphon my energy, you do not have my consent to use my vitality, and I call my power back.
Singers, when they sing songs, it's like a mantra. When you repeat a chorus over and over and over. So when a kid hears a song and he starts singing that chorus over and over and over, then you start to hear it in the alpha state, into the subconscious mind. So you start to become the song or become what you're saying.
Guess you wonder where I've been.
I never thought of this.
Reason why they banned lead paint.
The real reason?
The real reason why they banned lead paint.
So it wasn't because it was fucking people up?
This is actually like very interesting. It's kind of scary as well. So they tell you that they banned lead paint because kids kept eating paint chips and they were getting poisoned. Now, while they may have been true, turns out lead is the best absorber of EMF radiation and gamma radiation as well. What that means is that if this was all coated in lead paint, it will be harder for cell tower signals, anything that shoots a signal, to actually penetrate your body the way they wanted it to. It was still hit in. It was still like, you know, the signal will still come in, but the radiation off of those signals won't be as deadly as they are without it. So that's why when you get an x-ray, you wear a lead vest to protect your body.
I forgot about that actually, and you're right. Yeah, they do put lead over your body, especially for x-rays.
Anything that shoots a signal, that's what the radiation is. But mostly from your phones and Wi-Fi. And that takes one out of the book, Silent Weapons for Silent Wars. Their silent weapons work better without lead paint.
You once claimed that you have an ability to face unpleasant facts. Is that what you've demonstrated in 1984 by drawing an accurate portrait of the future?
I think that allowing for the book being, after all, a parody, something like 1984 could actually happen. This is the direction the world is going in at the present time. In our world, there will be no emotions except fear, rage, triumph and self-abasement. The sex instinct will be eradicated. We shall abolish the orgasm. There will be no loyalty except loyalty to the party. But always there will be the intoxication of power. Always, at every moment, there will be the thrill of victory, the sensation of trampling on an enemy who is helpless. If you want a picture of the future, imagine a boot stamping on a human face forever. The moral to be drawn from this dangerous nightmare situation is a simple one. Don't let it happen. It depends on you.
We have a system that would not like to see black males and black females together. They would not like to see that happening at all. Because once we come together, they understand the power of the strength of the black woman, the queen of the universe. They know that, her strength. They also know the power of the black male, the warrior. If you would turn him loose, he will protect also his family and things that need to be done. And because they understand that if our relationships are together, then they will lose, but if our relationships are torn up, then we can forever be treated in certain ways by the oppressors. That's why they gave us something called integration, which is nothing but the illusion of inclusion. They gave us this. They actually gave this statement. And when they gave that statement, it meant that they could go right into your homes. They went into the black homes now, the powers that be.
International player, impeccable rhyme sayer. Stay suited and booted from head to toe, and that's compliments to my tailor. I be smelling like Ishimiyaki. Yes, I'm overconfident and cocky. I don't care who he is or how well he rap it, ain't a nigga alive that can stop me. I'm all about clocking $1 and giving a cock and then watching her holler. Was already king of Wakanda before T'Challa was popping his collar. I'm a gentleman and I'm a scholar. I got more chips than Erica Strata. You can even ask my...
And that's why motion picture stars are called movie stars, because in the Bible, stars were referred to as lesser illuminaries. So these lesser illuminaries are working for the big Illuminati. So the big Illuminati are using the lesser Illuminati. The lesser illuminaries are just stars.
Now we have pictures with the president with his hand stretched out, holding a red rose.
But I have about 15 major color pictures of communist leaders throughout the world holding a red rose in their hand. And these are from newspapers and magazines. I began to pick up on this because someone alerted me to it, that the symbol of the red rose implies not only socialism and communism, but a secret society operating behind socialism and communism that uses a red rose.
This way out Willie holding the rose. We find Khrushchev. We find
all the communist leaders,
all the communist leaders, and then we find the president of the United States over in his early years leading anti-American demonstrations in the Soviet Union.
Well, I know, but I'm saying that it's not enough to say these things. You really must show the pictures so that people will see that what we're talking about here are symbols and emblems.
Well, even Hitler used red and black, didn't he?
Yes, he certainly did.
Censored. Here's the weird stuff I love. Imagine your vision is totally normal, and then one day you see demonic features everywhere on people only, just like this, what you see behind me. Now that's a reality for a man named Victor Shera. He has extremely rare yet terrifying disorder called PMO, and it's commonly known as, or now known because people didn't know about it at first. It's called the demon face syndrome. People with the condition see parts of other people's faces distorted in shape, texture, position, or color. For Shera, that means grotesque, grimace, elongated eyes, and deeply etched scars. Also, pointed ears. There are 75 known cases of the disorder. My next guest, well, we talk about it, and he is kind of skeptical, but he says there's some proof.
And joining us now here.
Prove I'm not bluffing. Watch this.
Oh my God, the 59th Street Bridge.
Maybe it just collapsed on its own.
We can't take that chance.
You always say that. I want to take a chance.
Collapsed on its own. You have 72 hours.
We'll come right back to this.
I thought everybody was capping when they were talking about this, but I had to look it up myself. Bro, they're actually serious. That's crazy. No, because I just made a video about how you can get called back within your 8-year obligation. Regardless of what you got going on, you have an 8-year obligation. But now they're calling back the retirees? Oh my, because you really need to think about it. Why are they calling the retirees back? What is about to happen? What's going on? I don't know what we got planned, but the fact that they're calling retirees back is kind of mind-boggling. I'm thinking about all kinds of things that could happen. They're recalling the retirees.
You heard them. They're recalling the retirees. Why? Why would they do such a thing? Behind me you see Putin doing a candlelight visual for the attack in Moscow. Now, if you don't know, all night last night, Ukraine was being bombed. They sent 14 bombers into the air, and guess what? Right now, they sent 26 more in the air. So we're waiting for something big to happen right now. And these were some of the people who went underground in Kyiv to try to stay safe. And what happened was there was one bomb that went into Poland and back out. And this was in Ukraine last night. So basically, they were firing upon NATO borders, basically, almost. If it wasn't for it turning back into Lviv, I believe, then it'd already be like flat out victory. So what's going on with Russia right now? Well, the US Embassy in Moscow is dismantling their cooperation with the Russian government about the terror attack. And all terror attacks, it's the terror division. And this right here is actually a shopping mall in Moscow just about 2 hours ago that's evacuating because of terror threats. Y'all, this will not end well. So remember, I mentioned that missile that went into Poland turned around. Well, the head of Poland's national...
My apologies in advance, but you can't tell me that this looks like an accident. I mean, take a look at the angle in which it takes in order to hit that bridge. Now, I decided to ask artificial intelligence program called Copilot from Microsoft Bing's search engine what the effects of this bridge collapse will have on the economy and the surrounding areas. And the answers should be very alarming, but also not surprising. Check this out. An average of 4,900 trucks per day carry $28 billion worth of goods. Those are now going to need to be rerouted due to the bridge collapse. And the greatest impact is expected on hazardous materials such as diesel fuel. And we're already having problems with gas prices. This is only going to make things worse and set things back as it pertains to gas prices. But there's more, of course. The bridge plays a crucial role in the nation's infrastructure and the supply chain. The disruption is going to have long-lasting effects. Baltimore serves as the largest entry point in the U.S. for large agriculture and construction equipment, including tractors, farming combines, bulldozers, and heavy-duty trucks bound for the Midwest, the farmland of America. Let's visit that now, because this collapse comes just during the peak of planting season in the Midwest, and once again, it's going to affect the farming and the food. Additionally, construction activities also pick up in colder climates as the ground thaws. The economic impact extends beyond immediate costs, potentially affecting businesses, jobs, and regional stability. But there's more. The bridge's collapse affects the entire supply chain, including the movement of agricultural equipment, fertilizers, and other essential materials. Farmers may face challenges in receiving necessary supplies, leading to potential delays in planting, maintenance, and harvesting. The economic repercussions extend beyond immediate costs, potentially affecting crop yields, prices, and again, regional stability. I want to hear from you what you think about this. No, not this predictive programming, but I want to know what you think about this taking place last night and what it's going to do to the country moving forward. Share this video with everyone that you know.
Can you just speak before we wrap up here to what America's interest in Haiti, in fact, are? Earlier, you alluded to the fact that it has propped up various leaders in an effort to derail more progressive democratic leaders in the country. To what end?
So that's the question everybody always asks. And the only way to answer that really is the long-term one. Haiti became an independent country in 1804 through a slave rebellion, becoming an independent country in a world dominated by slave powers. The slave powers, including the United States, refused to recognize it because we could not allow Haiti to succeed, because Haiti's success would undermine the white supremacy upon which our success depended. We got our money through slavery, and Haiti still poses the same threat. When Haiti fairly elects its leaders, as it did in 2000, those leaders are going to challenge the international world order. They're going to go to the UN and talk about the international economic order. They're going to call for reparations for slavery. And the U.S. believes that's a threat to our lifestyle, because if Haiti is allowed to advocate for a more just world, other countries are going to do that too, and that's going to force us to compromise on some of our benefits. And in fact, when Haiti's president, elected in 2000, started to make those claims at the UN and elsewhere, literally France and the U.S. got together and forced him on a plane and sent him to the Central African Republic.
Brian, thank you so much.
For me, that time in Afghanistan did two things for me. One, it showed me the power of storytelling. When you work in those top secret cleared environments, you see how they get to decide what stories the public gets to hear. You see how they can hop on the phone with the New York Times and say, you can't run that story, it's national security, or you have to run it this way. Or they let stories run that they know are false.
Right.
Because then they got the proof, so at any point they could debunk it, but they want to go do something they don't want the media to pay attention to. The second thing that I saw is the power of technology. I mean, I was touching artificial intelligence in 2012. Things that, you know, commercially still aren't available.
Yeah.
They say, oh, we're trying to get there. Like, how you trying to get to where we already were in 2012? Like, y'all haven't touched that. And so it really showed me that technology is the magic of our generation. Like, if they can use these tools to decide who lives and who dies in a war, and to even cover up the mistakes they made when they hurt innocent people, right? Then why can't it be used to make sure that kids like me have food on the table every night? Why can't it be used to make sure that people who come from where I come from have their imagination expanded and aren't locked into their physical reality about what they can and can't be in life?
Om Lam, Om Wam, Om Ram, Om Yam, Om Hum, Om.
You all see that?
Yes.
Yes.
So this is a picture of the Mississippian. Now, mind you, the Mississippian culture are known as the mound builders. The Hamza, or the hand of Fatima, is a symbolic hand which represents protect in both Jewish and Islamic cultures, relating to Fatima, the daughter of the Prophet Muhammad, and Miriam, the sister of Moses. When we're dealing with the indigenous cultures on this side, we're dealing with those, if you factor in the Back Creek stone, the Possum stone, which has the ancient form of Hebrew, which is also an ancient form of Moabite, what they call ancient Canaanite, it has many names. And then you couple that with this symbol of the Hamza, and this is only the surface. You'll see that the people are sharing much of the same language and the same culture from our ancient brothers and sisters in the East. So I say this to say that we're dealing with the same people. We're dealing with the same people, same language, same religious symbols, same using of the waterways, building of pyramids and mounds.
So the secret hand positions are called mudras. Mudras work because we're closing circuitry in our nervous system. Our nervous system is our brain, and each of these fingers has a different element. Fire is the stimulating element, or heat in our body. Air is our gases that we breathe and the construction of our mind. The inhalation of prana to polarize and depolarize our nervous system, giving us the sequential flash of intelligence. This is ether, or ethos, the intelligent substratum of our universe. This is the quantum physics finger, essentially. And then we have earth, the construction of our food body. This is food that we've intelligently constructed. And water, this is where our emotions are. So when we close these circuits, we enhance their effect. Instead of depolarizing through the extension of our fingers, we polarize the circuit, and it affects our body. The reason that they're correlated to elements is because these elements have different effects in our body. They construct part of our consciousness. We are the earth. We are the universe. All of these forces are the microcosm of our experience. So yoga was the science of the subjective understanding of our physiology through physical experimentation.
The reason it seems far out, woo, and like pseudoscience is because you're deviating from the dominant narrative of the nature of consciousness and what to accept into your life as what you apply and what you listen to and how you behave, instead of subjectively experimenting and coming to your own conclusions.
In quantum physics, all possibilities exist in the present moment. But most people's brains are anticipating the future based on the past, and they're not present. So then it requires training and practicing finding the present moment and beginning to change their habits and their thoughts and their behaviors. Most people don't know this, but there's an invisible field of energy around your body. And when you react to someone or something, you draw from this invisible field and you turn it into chemistry. And the field around your body shrinks. And now you're more matter and less energy. You're more particle and less wave. And most people then, when you are matter trying to change matter, you always try to force the outcome. You try to control the outcome. You try to predict the outcome. And people then get competitive, or they hold on, or they...
All right, come on, run the one in. Bitch, how'd you get subtitled? Oh, homie over there spazzing.
Oh, hell no. I think I chose the wrong one today.
Fucking we here though. Why does everything feel different? Something ain't right about this. Come on then, bitch! Oh, shit! How was he beating me mid-air?
Settling down into the moment. That's always how I raise my frequency, is I have to come back and relocate myself and realize, oh, this is the center of the universe. This is where source comes from. So, a big long comment from Raymond. I think they may mess with CERN on the day of the eclipse, and I think they were messing CERN to shift our timelines. Oh, I think so too. I think they've gone back and messed with the timeline from right around, it was the whole Tartaria thing. I think they started messing with it. They probably were before then, but when we really started to accelerate was at the right around 1900, when like Madame Curie and Tesla and Einstein and Westinghouse, all these geniuses they were just flooding the planet, and I think they're like, we don't want them to wake up. We have to fuck with the timeline. And then I think with World War II, they fucked with it, and then the Nazis, and then the reptilians, and then I think they fucked with it again with JFK. I think they've gone back and changed that a number of times, and maybe it's a temporal war where the good guys are going back to, because it used to be 4 people in the vehicle, and now it's 6 in the JFK vehicle. How freaking bizarre is that? And the middle seat had John Connolly and his wife. Have you ever heard of John Connolly's wife giving an interview to Larry King about her time in that vehicle? And when I saw it, I was like, what? This is so over the top.
Why is CERN being reactivated on April 8th, the same day as the infamous eclipse? Supposedly, the particle collider can accelerate protons to a rate that's only 7 miles per hour slower than the speed of light, resulting in 11,000 trips around its ring per second. After CERN started its Awake experiment in 2016, conspiracy theorists were convinced CERN was opening portals in the sky when photos taken near the facility revealed strange electromagnetic storms above it.
Don't say boo or grab them by the horns, cause that won't be cool. There's a couple accusations, helicopters, cameras, pause, cause they're playing hardball and that's bananas. Keep it private and don't say scrambling and scraping, daddy, that won't make them happy. A new term for those that talk zesty, grown men exposed when they call a friend their bestie. I spit it out. Swallow that's that. A no diddy. I want that. That's a no diddy. That take that. That's a no diddy. Can I grab that? That's a no diddy. Come party with me. That's a no diddy. I want that. That's a no diddy. That take that. That's a no diddy. Can I grab that? That's a no diddy. Teddy Riley. No, that's a no diggity. I want that. Yep, that's a no diddy. I can't say that. Nope, that's a no diddy. Can I grab that? That's a no diddy. Come party with me. That's a no diddy. I want that. That's a no diddy. That take that. That's a no diddy. Can I grab that? That's a no diddy. Come party with me. That's a no diddy. I want that. That's a no diddy. That take that. Can I grab that?
If you go to Disney World, for instance, down there in the Haunted Mansion, you see the hologram, right? Oh, you know how to make a hologram. Well, our scientists have learned how to make people. They call them synthetics. Are you familiar with those?
Well, actually, we just interviewed John Lear, and he was talking about being in an audience in which they were given a lecture by a guy that they thought was real and found out later he was a hologram.
Well, it's a synthetic. A synthetics, when you touch their skin, it feels like plastic almost. That's the latest technique. The old techniques, if you guys can rent a video, the boys from Brazil, rent it, because in it, it gives you the exact way how our government's been making people.
Really?
Yeah,
well,
and the Soviets have a different method called...
I mean, making people meaning temporary people?
No, walking, talking ones.
Meaning through genetics? You're not talking about that?
Well, let me tell you. The movie shows it, but I'll share it with you right now.
All right.
All I need to do is take 2 cells off of your body, yours.
Uh-huh.
We give them a small electrical charge. I'm just don't act like a fertilized egg. If I got a fertilized egg, all I need is a receiver in order to make it. So they were hypnotizing women, said they were being invaded by aliens, and the fetus starts growing, right? Needs food. Well, they can use cows and sheep too. It's, again, a food source. That's all we need. After about 14 weeks, all of a sudden that fetus is gone. because they've learned to take, that's when the fetus starts developing its own blood supply. Then they've used a pituitary hormone extract that they have, which accelerates the being that grows. And the original technology was given to our government by the Greys. Now, the reason was that our scientists were all excited because we could have spare parts. If you need a heart or a liver or anything, you won't have any rejection. It's your own DNA, right?
Okay, because theoretically, if we have overpopulation, we don't need more people, right?
But the so-called elite are selecting on who they want to have around anyway, so if we want to keep people going as long as we can. I talked to the doctor that was working on regeneration of Castro, for instance.
Right.
On the DNA sequencing. And they're just learning about this.
Well, my understanding is that a lot of presidents have already been replaced.
That's right.
Yeah,
I don't think
they're walking around. They look old, but they basically some of the people are just
I'll just give you something to I'll give you something to ponder. Get some old videos of George Bush, when he first came into office. Look at the person and listen to him speak. Look at his actions and listen to everything that's there. Now, it's a lot easier to put somebody out in front to act as even Bush did. He had somebody else that was up there acting like he is and look like it. Even Hitler had he had his stand. In fact, his stand-in was the one that they found in the ground over in Germany. I mean, Hitler and Eva and the dog and 14 other people got aboard a plane and flew down to Barcelona, Spain. You were aware of that. And then ended up in Antarctica or in Swabenland and then died a few years ago in Brazil.
That's what we heard.
I have all the documents from our own government.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a contact. One of our
Stalin Stalin asked for they tried to burn the body, and he got the body back, and he said, we had different ears, and the testicles were different and everything else, so they knew it wasn't Hitler.
But is it a clone or not?
Oh, now you know I'm going about cloning. Cloning techniques, since 1938, they've been making clone people. There's 8 countries making clones. I have a doctor friend that all he does is treat the clones.
Where do you get your information?
I get it from some of the people that are willing to come forth, and they talk to me because they hope I'll put the information out because they always got 2 people following them and they may be killed. If I start talking about cloning too much, the people that get involved into that disappear on it. So I don't go into too many more details, but there is information that's available. And more and more of that's coming on the line. I just told you, go rent the movie.
Okay, Boys from Brazil.
Yeah, and you'll see the whole technique on what they show it to you in different places, so you can imagine what's going on.
Okay, so...
Now let's go to the next step, because this is the most important part.
All right.
If your physical reality that you have, based on this physical life that you have this dream, is made up of the experiences that is impregnated on your body and in your mind, consciously, right? Mm-hmm. Your soul memory is another thing. It goes back whatever time that you elected to be in this incarnation for whatever reason. Now let's show you the division on these things. Since the body's very physical, and we just got you making a physical being in a few months for spare parts, they said, now we've got the perfect deal. How can we have that work better? Well, if you go to the hospital today and get an encephalogram, what's that? That's the memory of your conscious mind. It's on the CD. Let's download it on this being. Now we got a walking, talking duplicate that has the total memory that you have, because we just took it off of your own mind.
Okay, it's like Blade Runner, the android.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. The only thing is that it's like this DVD recorder. Sometimes you have glitches in it, so you have to have them tuned up occasionally or redone. And so we take them to Camp David, or there's a wing at Bethesda Hospital to just tell you. If you go down there and check, you'll find the nurses, if they're willing to come forth, they'll tell you they work on those people, and they call them the others. I thought it was interesting. They're people. Remember, these people can think and act, but they don't have soul. That's also prophesized.
Right,
Soulless
that's
beings.
true. That's true.
Now we have another agenda that's going on, so you have to be careful of all this. There are many extraterrestrials that would like to be in on the game right now, so they can sometimes will come into these physical beings that we've made to manipulate them.
I see.
So now you have a combination effort that you have to look at, and discernment. You have to discern what the game is. Well, just figure that most of the leaders we have in the world have been bought and paid for or created to think a certain way.
And then it was such a hit. It was way bigger than I even anticipated. And now, I think we're going to make part 2. I think you have to. I think you, have to. They kill you if you try to walk away. And they clone you.
at Mitch. Fuck all that, man. I heard you top dog now.
Everything ain't all right, man? I ain't eating. Come on, I'm broke, baby. I ain't got no money.
Bullshit. I see you shining, nigga. I can smell a motherfucker with money. And your man Mitch just got out of jail. Did you schooling him like this too?
I don't have to do that with him, man.
Quit you up, eh? Yeah, man, but look, B. Once we get my little brother back, man, we right the fuck back on, baby.
See me zoning at the map, focusing on these niggas, champagne on my breath, yes! I was like, yeah.
It was great, it was so much energy, it was hot. Wonderful for a visual artist to cross the borders, different medium, and music always being the most immaterial form of art, which is so wonderful.
حصلت الجزيرة على هذه الصور من طائرة مسيرة إسرائيلية من أسطول يحوم فوق غزة منذ ما قبل 7 أكتوبر. ويبدو واضحا من الصور أن هؤلاء الفلسطينيين لا يحملون السلاح ولا يشكلون خطرا على أي شيء أو أي أحد. والمسيرة لم تترك المكان. وكل هذا والمسيرة ومن يشغلها ومن يتحملون السلاح وتبقى المسيرة في المكان تعود لهم. لا تخطئ قوات الاحتلال أهدافها، وهدفها في هذه الحرب المدنيون. تعود وتطلق النار من جديد. إنها الجريمة الكاملة أو كادت أن تكون لولا هذه.
Human organs to people in Israel who had ordered them in advance. On Friday, Ukrainian authorities arrested a dozen people, most of them Israelis, for taking part in the scheme. The network, which mostly sought kidneys, paid as much as $10,000 per body part. The organs were then sold for over $200,000. Ukraine's Interior Ministry says most of the organ donors were impoverished young women. This is not the first time that reports have surfaced implicating Israelis in organ trafficking. Last year, a Swedish journalist published an article claiming that Israeli soldiers killed young Palestinians for their organs.
The man at the center of the controversy shook hands and accepted warm wishes. He's been charged with sexually molesting a 16-year-old girl beginning when she was just 12, but on this night, hundreds of Hasidic Jews packed the hall and plunked down money to help support him.
He has a lot of support in the community.
And tell me how much money you hope to raise?
$500,000.
Walked handcuffed into a Brooklyn courthouse this morning. Less than 3 hours later, they all were free on bail and shielded by members of their close-knit Hasidic Jewish community, dodging our cameras and our questions.
They do not want to comment. Please do not follow. You're harassing them.
The district attorney says this man, Abraham Rubin, offered $500,000 to the boyfriend of a girl who last year brought forward molestation allegations against community leader Nekemia Weberman. According to the DA, that money was an incentive for the victim and her boyfriend, a witness in the case, to leave the country and miss testifying in Weberman's upcoming trial. As for these brothers, Hertzka, Jacob, and Joseph Berger, the DA says they harassed the victim and her boyfriend, made threatening phone calls, even said they'd ruin the boyfriend's kosher business if he didn't cooperate with the bribe.
They all deny the allegations. They are obviously going to be fighting these cases vehemently.
The grand jury handed down the charges just 3 weeks after the boyfriend came forward to police. Today, the DA called him a
tough guy. We need more people who are tough.
Tough because the DA has been trying to encourage members of the seclusive Orthodox Jewish community to report crimes, a move that's strongly against their beliefs.
I'm hopeful that this will be a message to people who are intimidated that they should come forward and help us.
But today, it was the Berger brothers and Rubin who had a strong showing in the courtroom from dozens of community members who say they stand by them.
Weberman, the man.
This was in the 1940s.
They're playing by manual.
Wow.
They got a whole manual.
They got a playbook against you Negroes.
Right.
Play it again.
In 1943, the following directive was issued from party headquarters to all communists in the United States. It read, "When certain obstructionists become too irritating, label them after suitable build-ups as fascist or Nazi or anti-Semitic, and use the prestige of anti-fascist and tolerance organizations to discredit them. In the public mind, constantly associate those who oppose us with those names which already have a bad smell. The association will, after enough repetition, become fact in the public mind.
Him as my graduate advisor, and the area that I was interested in was how drugs and food affect muscular performance. And
when you say drugs, was that like performance-enhancing drugs, or are they
all kinds of drugs?
Oh, right. Okay.
So working for the military, I wasn't governed by the same laws that the typical person was, so I could look at the impact of certain drugs that are not everyday things. So we looked at a drug called modafinil, which was for narcoleptics. So if you give a soldier this drug, how long could they stay awake for without having any health detriment?
Is that used now as one of these brain drugs? I've heard the name before somewhere.
Yeah, so it's very interesting. Modafinil, it will keep you awake, but it's not a stimulant.
Really?
So if a special forces person has to stay awake for 3 nights waiting for the right opportunity to do whatever they have to do, we could give them modafinil and it would keep them alert.
Now let's talk about the red hat, and let's talk about the similarities to the White Lives Matter t-shirt. The thing about the red hat that drove me to a point of exhaustion, which was misdiagnosed by I'm not going to say what race, what people, doctor, and what hospital, and what media went to. We know I can't say that. It was a Jewish doctor that diagnosed me of having a disorder that would have had me on medication right now. At a time like this, if I was on medication right now, then one pill could have been swapped out and it would be Michael Jackson and Prince all over again. But because I didn't take the misdiagnosis and I didn't take the medication, I'm able to speak to you guys clear of thought and transparently. Now let me talk about the red hat.
I did research on a drug called acetazolamide, which is for use at high altitude so you don't get altitude sickness.
Then let's have a conversation. But you ain't gonna send Harley Pasternak, Puff Daddy, Meek Mills, Kim Kardashian, none of the usual suspects and get me to stop talking. You're going to have to take my life. I don't care if you Black Mirror me. I don't care if you do some of the alternative, what the thing where show me talking, saying somebody didn't say. I don't care if you have me fucking a goat on camera. I don't care what you do. You're going to have, yeah. And by the way, and if you take my life, there's gonna be some college kid, some young Ye, some young Pac that's gonna even go harder. It's gonna, y'all thought George Floyd was gonna send it up. If you took my life right now, you're gonna see something you never saw. So we might as well have a conversation.
This is insane. This is the start of schools with no teachers. A private school in Texas started to use AI to teach their students instead of teachers. The students are working one-on-one with AI, and it instantly starts to understand what the students need and can teach them at the correct pace. They even have historical figures teaching them about their own history.
We believe that education should adapt to every student's unique needs and interests.
And these kids are liking it way better than traditional school because they feel like they're actually learning.
Explains a detailed explanation of why the correct answer is correct, not just saying, oh, here's your correct answer. You can answer the question this way next time.
Share this with a teacher.
Any two-edged sword.
Yep, that's what the word says.
And you said crystals can't do it?
Crystals can't cut through that. I'm sorry. They can't. Sage can't cut through it. I know you want it to. It ain't doing nothing but making your house smell. That's it. Your house just smells like stuff. I get it though. Listen, y'all, I was saging crystal. I was charging crystals. I was doing all tuning forks. I was doing all that mess.
Tuning forks? What's that?
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. Vibrations. I don't know. I was doing all that. All of it.
Did you see it work a little bit?
No. I did not. I told you I had hot rocks and a smoky room. It's fine.
Mega.
I get it. The Lord knows those rocks.
Yeah, smoky room.
Yeah, and hot rocks from charging them in the sun. That was hot. Hot rocks and
your house smell like sage.
Oh yeah, sage and rosemary, sage and lavender. Just walking around talking about she kodorobo. It's like that. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. Talk about in the name of Jesus. What? What are you talking about? Put those herbs away. Please.
Put in some food.
But yes, if you don't go make a pot roast and sit down, Lord have mercy. Crush that lavender and get yourself some oil.
And take a bath.
And take right. Girl, I know the Holy Spirit was like, oh, here she go with them rocks. There she go with them rocks. They ain't gonna do nothing.
Brother, what's that? What's that, brother?
They do not want your children to be educated. They do not want you to think too much. That is why our country and our world has become so proliferated with entertainments, mass media, game shows, television shows, amusement parks, drugs, alcohol, and every kind of entertainment to keep the human mind entertained so that you don't get in the way of important people by doing too much thinking. You had better wake up and understand that there are people who are guiding your life and you don't even know it. And all American citizens, I think, have suspected something like this is going on. But we're all too busy trying to stay alive and live our lives. And after all, what can one person do about it?
Lift yourself up on your feet. Let's get it on.